Ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you to another edition of BadCatz Sportscast. But this isn't just another edition. This is the first BadCatz Sports podcast brought to you by Route 6 Auto Mall Kia Studios at Podcast City. So this is forever known as the Kia Route 6 Auto Mile Studio at Podcast City. And we'd like to welcome them aboard. And we'd like to thank them for their sponsorship. So we're going to get they're paying for the sign to go behind us. And next thing we do, we're going to sell the table, Birdie. Everything is for sale here. This is the red light district. This is the red light district, okay? Can we get a timestamp here? This is the red light district for sports podcasts.
Hey.
We are selling everything.
We live in a branding world, right? So.
Yeah, we live in a world where we gotta advertise and promote ourselves to get to the level that we want to be at, for sure. So, my man Riley, what's going on? Can we get a timer up there, Riles? Mm-hmm. Because we were sending stuff to my man Jeff Karen and Becky Karen's son, who was going to be doing some Twitch. Flores, are you familiar with Twitch, Riley?
Yeah.
Is it good?
Yeah, I like it. Yeah.
Yeah, you like it. So we'll be going to Twitch. Too, so there we go. So there is. That's the time as of now, or the time from the beginning.
As of now.
As of now. So what is that going to do for me? As of now, when we missed the.
I can't start it back then.
No, I hear you.
I mean, it's better.
Robbie, you're a bad dude, but I know you can't turn back time, my brother. I know you can't. Speaking of my man Riley, I got you some pizza dogs.
Yes.
From another one of our sponsors, TNT. Now, let me ask you a question. What consists of a pizza hot dog? Because I've never, ever heard of it.
Never heard of it either until I went to TNT.
I hear you. The last hot dog you ordered to me was some cheese mix, right?
I think so, yeah. So the pizza one is basically... Oh, shit, the camera's not on. Can you turn the... I gotta press the button. But I'll just keep talking. I'll turn it on in a second. But the pizza one is basically like... it's toasted, and then it has the marinara sauce, and then cheese on top of it that's kind of like melted. Yeah, so it's pretty good. Yeah, toasted bread and everything.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
How many of those did you shovel down?
No, I got
you got me two, but sometimes I usually like 4 or 5. It depends on the day.
My boy can eat.
Oh,
Don't get me wrong. He can get down with the best of them.
Size is deceptive sometimes. Yeah. You see some small guys can.
Yeah, look at that jerk off Joey Chestnut from the
hot dog. Nathan's Coney Island hot dog.
Contest. Yeah. I mean, come on, that's crazy. Who the hell wants to eat a hot dog bun? Now, what do you need to slip that cover off there?
No, just press the button on it.
What button?
It's like one of the other.
Hang on.
Come on, fellas. We can't be making mistakes like this. Listen, we can't be making mistakes. We can't be making mistakes like this. Are we good?
I'll get it. No.
All right, come on.
We'll figure it out.
The NFL is in some crazy, crazy hot water, man. We're going to talk about it a little bit. Look at this kid. He is cray-cray.
I would make a characterization and call it shark-infested waters for the NFL right now.
Absolutely.
Would you say there's blood in the water also?
There will be blood in the water. There will be blood in the water. And if Roger Goodell survives this scandal, I'm throwing my hands up and surrendering. This buffoon, if he can survive this, the one thing I'm looking forward to for this all coming out, and I'm not saying everybody's telling the truth about everything, and I'm not saying the owners are all bad guys and behave as some of these accusations are. The truth is always somewhere in the middle, usually, okay? But, when you start having issues with owners and general managers and head of operations, we don't expect the general manager to be able to control all the players in the league because there's just too many of them and they're just too wild. And, that's been a problem for as long as time. But he should be able to have his upper-level administrators really, really toeing the line. He needs to start but we're going to talk about that more as we go on. So how does my man Birdie look? Birdie, you're the only guy in Rhode Island other than the governor of Rhode Island that's wearing an RI hat.
He got smoked the other day, I think.
Every time the governor comes on, I like that too.
Well,
the governor from Rhode Island comes on, has a press conference about the snow. He's got the exact same hat you have on, but it's probably 10 years older with much less wear and tear.
Well, I became a little bit of a URI fan going back about 5, 6, 7, 8 years
Really?
ago.
Yeah.
And then
not a URI fan when Kevin Whiting was doing this thing?
I was just gonna mention his name. Yeah, a good friend of ours, Kevin Whiting. I used to see him down at the games. Kevin, played over there many moons ago. So, and the facility is really, really nice, but it is a bit out of the way down in Kingston.
The old place was Keeney.
I'd never gone there.
Yeah, that was a wild place. Just like the Cage at UMass Amherst.
Oh, I'm sure.
Just like the place they had at BC.
Well,
basketball's best played in environments like that.
I would agree with that one.
Best played in environments like Cameron. Like
Palestra in Philadelphia.
Yes.
Well, with PC played some games last year on campus, though.
Alumni Hall. Alumni Hall.
I've never been there either, but...
Yeah.
No, those places... you're right on top of the players. It's very loud in those places. It's intense.
It's intimate.
You probably played a few of those,
I played a few of them, I played Alumni Hall at St. John's.
Yep.
I played a few of them. My man Riley.
Yes.
Okay, so we talked about the pizza dogs. Now let's talk about the bet that is raging through the South Coast. Okay? People are talking about it everywhere I go. I'm walking into sales calls, they're talking to me about the Bayern Munich bet. I'm walking into Mesa 21, they're talking to me about the Bayern Munich bet. I'm talking to you, they're talking about the Bayern Munich bet. What exactly, is going on here? Because some very smart soccer people in my life, including you and Pete Souza, said instantaneously, what is wrong with this line? It has to be a mistake. Bayern Munich could very easily win this game 5-0, 6-1. Why is this goal line so low? And why is the number only 115 against 100? Inquiring minds want to know what's up with Bayern and Salzburg, and how come this line isn't bigger?
I completely agree. I think this is like Birdie always says, the people want to put it out where they're going to get money on both sides. But this is not where you're going to get money on both sides. If you were going to get money on both sides, the line should have been at -2 or even -2.5 would kind of be fair. But I would say 2 would be fair, and I would look at it and be like, okay, that's fair, but I'm not going to play it. At 1.5, it's completely unfair. All of the value is on Bayern Munich because soccer.
How are the powers that be that are so good at what they do overlook this? This isn't a B series Italian team like Napoli. This isn't a B like Millwall.
Well, I think two goals is a lot.
How are they missing Bayern Munich, which is one of the most probably one of the most top 5 successful sports franchises in the last decade.
Yep.
In the world.
Well,
and I'm talking about the New England Patriots in that group too.
Yep.
Okay, I'm talking about the LA Dodgers. I'm talking about, I'm talking about I mean, they are perennial top 4, top 5 in the world, and I just don't understand.
Well, 2 goals is a lot. Like 1 goal in soccer is a lot. You can see a lot of games just end 1-0. So it's different in hockey where it's always action, always fast pass. So the 1.5 is like, okay, 2 goals can happen like this. Sure, sometimes the hockey is low scoring, but there's a lot of high scoring games. But in soccer, 2 goals to win a game, 2-0, that's a good amount of goals. So I can see why. But with Bayern Munich, if you watch them historically, they score so much, and that's why.
They beat Barcelona 6-2 the other
8-2 2 years ago in the quarterfinals. In one game, they beat them 8-2. And Barcelona's a way better team than Salzburg will ever be, and it will never they'll never reach those heights.
So that's what I wanted to ask you. Okay, you've established what Barcelona Bayern Munich is.
Yes.
What is this Salzburg?
Salzburg is the best team in Austria, which
are they the best team in Austria?
Yes. They're historically the best team in Austria. Not historically, but recently. So RB stands for Red Bull, and Red Bull bought about like 3 or 4 teams around the world. They bought Red Bull New York, Red Bull Leipzig, Red Bull Salzburg, and all of those teams were never really that good in their like collective divisions, in the MLS, the Bundesliga, and then the Austrian Bundesliga. And then all of a sudden they dumped in billions of money into it. Red Bull did, and then those teams became powerhouses of their country. So nobody likes Red Bull except the people there. So they recently have been the best team in Austria, getting some of the best young talent around there. But in the Champions League and in Europe, they're not good. They're just a best team in a terrible division that can make it into the Champions League just by being the best out of their Europe.
Sure.
So
well, that's what happens. That's what makes the Champions League special.
It is, and what makes Champions League special is that sometimes the underdog comes out and beats the top guy like Bayern Munich.
Sure.
But a game like this where Bayern Munich is super hot in the Bundesliga, haven't lost the Bundesliga in 10 years in a row. They've won it every single year. They historically get to the semifinals, quarterfinals of the Champions League. This should be an easy one for them just to roll them over. And and again, at home, it's in Salzburg, so that worried me. But then there's probably going to be no fans. So that's even better for the Bayern Munich pick because there's going to be no Salzburg fans.
The more we pull away the leaves and the layers, it gets better. Now they're talking about not having any fans. And their fan base is very volatile, very vocal, and something that other clubs first identified with Salzburg, correct?
Yes.
Is their loyal fans. Now, can we get the value of the Salzburg franchise compared to the value of the Bayern Munich franchise? What both franchises are worth? I'm going to say Bayern Munich is worth 10 times the money Salzburg is.
I'd be curious to see what the value on these teams is because I saw something the other day. The last team sold in North America was the Brooklyn Nets, and the finalized deal was $2.35 billion because they're talking about the Broncos being sold very shortly, and they're estimating up to $4 billion, which may pass up what the Nets were just sold for. But I don't know what these soccer franchises go for.
Oh, big,
whether it's more money or not.
Big money. Now, let me ask you a question.
So they're about $4.22 billion for their team value. Salzburg was about,
which is similar to the New England Patriots.
Yeah, and then Salzburg was about like $260 million.
So I was right. So they're 10 times worth the value.
Even more than 10 times.
Sure.
It'd be like 10 and a half, 11, almost around there. But yes, it's a lot. Well, they're worth a lot more.
200. That's 5. That's 4, and that's 8. And now they're a lot more than that. But Bayern Munich is
$4.22 billion.
And who was the number one?
I believe it would be
Man City,
Real Madrid, or Barcelona. They would be number one, or Manchester United. I think it's Manchester United is number one, and then Real Madrid, Barcelona, Bayern Munich, and then things like City, Liverpool, Chelsea, all those other teams.
So a question I have is, what would be? I understand guys like Messi and Ronaldo are getting paid astronomical money. What is the roster numbers for a average soccer team? What
outrageous at sometimes.
Average player would get paid.
Average player, I would probably say they usually go by per week. You know how we do per year. They do for Europe. They'll be like, oh, this guy's getting paid $100,000 per week. But usually a big name player like Messi, in one of his contracts, it was I think $680,000 per week. But that's just him. I would say the average.
But that's not the best way to articulate it. Can we call up the salaries up there, Riley?
Yeah.
So it sounds like these guys are being paid more than NFL players from the South.
Oh, some of them are, without question.
I mean, man for man. That's why how many players on the roster of soccer?
I don't think it's NBA and baseball money, but I think it's probably more than football money.
So the best player on Bayern Munich is Robert Lewandowski. He's probably the best player in the world, and that's why I love it, because he can score 3 goals by himself. $450K a week he makes, and then so they have let's say 3 guys over $250,000 on their payroll, and then 180, 157, 157.
That's per week, but what's the yearly so we can compare with other professional teams?
Next college.
So it's 23 a year, 21 a year, 20, 14, 10, 8.
That's comparable
8,
to NFL quarterbacks, what they're getting, between 25 and 30 million or around that
more than
range.
More than that. So NFL quarterbacks get a little more than that.
Yeah.
But this is This is the European soccer is.
It's probably like similar to other sports. I'm sure back in the '70s, them guys weren't getting paid that kind of money when Pele was playing.
No.
I know.
Similar to baseball.
But like our fans are popular. Our fans look at players and make players popular. Their fans make players deities. You understand what that means?
No.
Godlike.
Oh, immortal. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like they're not.
Maradona,
They're not.
Pele.
They're not. The fandom is so ancestral and so passed down and so intertwined into your family that it is. It's insane. From your village to your city to your club.
That's the only game.
It's all of it. I mean, that's what it's all about. And there's different layers of leagues. I believe there is 3 relatively competitive professional soccer leagues, right, in England, right, Riley?
They have the
professional,
the Premier League, the Championship, the League 1, League 2. And League 3, so I would say about five of them they can go in and out of.
That people are making a living playing.
Yeah, probably. Make a living, probably 4, but then the last one, they still are professional players, but yeah, 4 of them that they make a living in, yeah.
Sure. So, look at Major League Baseball. You got majors, AAA, so that's the same time. These clubs
are. Levels.
Yeah, and these clubs, and they're much more accountable and responsive to their boards and to their club membership and to their fans too, Riley, right?
Yes. The boards are like a big part of it. They listen to kind of what the owner wants, and then the board will take it to the manager, who's like their coach, and then they'll be like, all right, who do you want? This is what the owner wants. So they're kind of like a bridge between the owner and the coach to try to get what the owner thinks is the best player and what the coach says would be the best player for the team and the board. There's just so many people into it. It's like owner, board, player, coach, and the coach usually has a say if they like the coach and what players they want.
President of the fan clubs, because didn't one of the general managers was in cahoots with one of the Portuguese teams? Didn't they bar the coach from coming on premises? Didn't the Sporting or Porto fans
recently.
What happened with that, Riley?
So I think a couple of years ago they didn't really like the coach at all, and that can happen a lot when the fans start to hate the coach and they start turning on them, booing on them. The board will start to listen, and they'll be like, okay, maybe this is not good because fans aren't going to show up. So they started not to go to places, and then they're like, all right, we have to get rid of this guy because the fans won't. So
fans
won't back him.
They refuse to let him in.
Well, it's like you've always said, when something's going to affect your bottom line, it's going to change pretty quick, right?
Sure, yeah. That's what. But even if before it gets to the bottom line, that's why it's been my secret passion for a long time, man. Because this is sports on Red Bull. This is supercharged. Yeah. This is very, very leveled, intricate, high emotion. Riley's team, Chelsea, is one of the most profitable franchises in the entire sports world. Any sport. I think they've had 6 managers in 7 years, right, Riley?
Yeah. They go through coaches like they go through underwear. As soon as they don't one coach won us the biggest trophy you can win in the whole entire world, and they didn't like what he was doing over the summer, so they got rid of him the summer after. It's like firing Sean McVay if he wins you the Super Bowl just because they brought in one player they didn't like. But it depends on the different clubs. And the one thing I love about soccer the most is that it goes on for 80% of the year. There's only 2 months of a break if there's no World Cup or Euro Cup. There's only 2 months of a break that you can't watch it. It says June, July, and a little bit of August, and then it's right back on. And then from August all the way to late May, you're watching it the whole time. And that's just the best part to me, because football, it's 3 months and then you're done. 3-4 months, you're done. Basketball is same thing. And soccer's just year round. It's just nonstop, always games from different leagues, and just always keeps you interested. And you gotta
basketball is about October to July, if you're still alive. I would say October till probably May. But the varieties of different
play styles and teams.
Derby day, and then you're trying to stay unregulated, and then you're trying to move up a division, and then you're trying to play your way into this, and then there's three tournaments within the regular season domestically, and then you have all these specials and friendlies. It's a handful.
Well,
to get your arms around.
Yeah, even to watch as a fan.
What you're saying and everything you just said, and you haven't even mentioned the World Cup
nope.
as being the crown jewel, right?
Nope. So every 4 years, and that's why they want to talk about bringing it every 2 years, and it's just so stupid. It's just so like
it's too big for every 2 years.
It is way too big, and it kind of kills like the hype of it, because like if something happens so often, you start to like forget how like important it is, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like it's so awesome to watch every 4 years because it doesn't happen so often. Like everybody comes around and watches it because like it's a spectacle, because you never know when your team's going to be doing that good again, because in 4 years the players are 4 years older and then there's their shot. Like it's so awesome.
All right, so let me wrap up this soccer thing right here. All right, so Bayern Munich and Salzburg, that's locked in for everybody. All the reasons have been well documented. This is Riley's and mine and many of my friends. When you start seeing this, the people who you respect the most about a particular sport saying, this is how this is going to go down, bang, 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 and they're all, without talking to each other, they're all saying the same thing, I've heard enough. Also, Man City Sporting, you got an interesting take on that, Riley.
Yes. I think if this game would have happened last year, I would have been a lot more not interested, because of course I'm interested in it, but a lot more watching it, be like, wow, this could be a really good game because of how great Sporting was doing last year, and they were running away with the Portuguese league. They had so many great guys. They're all on fire. Now with this year, they're not playing as well, and Man City kind of got even better than they were last year. Yeah. So it's going to be, it could be again one-sided, but it's the Champions League and anything could happen, but I do like this game, and Portuguese teams are always so tough in the Champions League, and you don't ever want to play them just because historically they've been like always the underdogs, so they're not like an English team or something, but they've always given people hard times and they could upset people. So I would not be surprised with a Sporting win or even go through, but Man City is the giant and the absolute favorite to win the Champions League right now, so it's going to be a tough hill to climb.
So what's the line here? The
line here is 1.5 again, and if I was to go one way, I would definitely go with Man City because they can score like, again, they're just like Bayern Munich. They can score like nothing. Like they're breathing. It's easy for them to score.
Who's better right now, Bayern Munich or Man City?
Man City. Man City is just walking away with everything. They're just beating teams like it's easy. They're just dispatching everything. They have like two teams full. But then again, you're talking about, in my opinion, the two teams that should play each other in the finals if they. So your pick for a perfect Champions League final would be Bayern Munich and Man City? Yes, if I was going to put my money on it. With my heart, it would be Chelsea and whatever. Yeah. I still think Chelsea has a little bit of chance, but to me, those are probably the two best teams in the world right now of how they're playing, how well they're playing in their league, not giving away any points. The players that they have playing at the top level right now. So those are going to be amazing. Now, as a man of Portuguese descent, yes, who almost traveled to Portugal, yes, last year, right? Who loves the soccer. Yep. You're not a Sporting. You're either a Benfica, a Sporting, or a Porto for the most part here. Porto. You like Porto because your grandfather. Yes, for sure. Okay. Yep. So, who are you rooting for this game? Do you outweigh the hatred for Sporting and Jimmy Hilario's nonsense? Well, I hate Man City as well. All right, and I think that outweighs it. And I always like to see the Portuguese teams do well. Absolutely. There you go. I always like to see them do well. Yeah. And I can't stand Man City at all. So I hope Sporting wins, but it's going to be hard for them. But then again, I'll be honest, I wouldn't be too upset if they get absolutely demolished, if Sporting gets absolutely demolished. I won't. What are you rooting for? I'm rooting for Sporting, but I'm just saying, like, I'm not going to sit there and get hyped up if they win because, it's just not in me. But again, if they lose, you can find joy in both results. Exactly. But if I'm picking one and someone says pick one and you can only go one way, it'd be rooting for Sporting because I don't like Man City. But this would be huge. Yes, absolutely. This would be one of the biggest wins in Champions League, one of the biggest upsets in Champions League history, just because Man City is so heavily favored to win the Champions League right now compared to any other team. It's insane. It'd be absolutely insane. So Sport is the underdog. Massive. So Jimmy Hilario, he took one body shot with the Patriots.
But if they're the underdog,
but this one you expected though. Yeah. This one you expected. The Patriots one was a lot like the underdog by 4 points. This one you expected because you're playing the best team in the world.
Think of the Patriots and times it by 10, and that's Jimmy's loyalty.
Oh really?
Oh my! Yeah, it's crazy.
He's pretty passionate about the Patriots.
That's what I do. By the way, I met his uncle today.
Okay.
At Pleasant Street Vision Center.
Okay.
What a cool shop, man.
Really?
Hey, yeah. I'm getting glasses.
Oh, that's in the plaza there?
Yeah, that's right across from Estero Restaurant.
Okay. Yeah. I know where it is because it's where the pizza place is. Yeah, right on the side of there. Pizza. Yeah.
So across from pizza.
Pizza time.
Across the street, not on the side.
No, across the street. Yeah.
So one more thing about Salzburg. I'm checking out their Champions League games for this year because they played 6 already this year for their group stage games. And they play this team called Wolfsburg, which is a team in Germany. Yeah. Most people probably haven't heard of them. They've played Bayern Munich a lot. They lost to Wolfsburg 2-1, and then they also beat Wolfsburg 3-1. Then they lost to Lille 1-0, which is a French team.
Lille, yeah.
They beat Sevilla 1-0, and then they also, I think, tied to Sevilla as well. So they're not doing like crazy good in the Champions League. They barely scraped in, and they were tied for points with the other team, and they just got in. Yeah. So they're not like on fire. They didn't come in looking like super hot. They just barely scraped in, losing to a German team that Bayern Munich usually beats every time they play. And so it's not like we're like betting against a super hot team.
And now they're moving up in class.
Exactly.
Bayern Munich from what you're telling me.
And one more play, if people just want to throw $5, $10, this is not a big play. There's no little bit of confidence. Real Madrid to win the whole entire Champions League. They're at like plus 2,000, plus 1,800.
20-1.
Yeah, they are so incredibly talented. I'm not saying that they're gonna win it. I have $5 on them. I have $5 on them to win 95. They have the most Champions League wins by far in 11, 12 wins.
Absolutely.
And it's just, they're playing so good in Spain.
And one of the most valuable franchises in all the sports. So
I'm not saying go put crazy money on it because they have a really hard first round draw against PSG, who's one of the favorites. Yeah. But just $5 to get you $90 to me is worth it and gives me something to root for.
And you're gonna have to beat a big time team like PSG along the way somehow. Yep. Why not do it early?
Exactly.
When they may have the guard down. So there you have it. Now, when do these games stop, Riles?
February 15th. The 16th. Sorry, the Bayern Munich game is Wednesday, and then the Sporting game is February 15th, which is a Tuesday.
All right.
So
we're going. I think we're gonna. That's when our remote's gonna be
2 days after the Super Bowl, right? Yeah. The Super Bowl's the 13th, so 2 or 3 days after the Super Bowl.
They're usually always played on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. It'll be just either day.
Sure, we got to find out what's going down. Prop bets for the Super Bowl. Anything jumping out at anybody, man?
Yep.
Any what?
Yep. Evan McPherson over 1.5 field goals again. I've been riding that wave for like 4 weeks in a row.
McPherson, is that the robotic kicker
for the Bengals?
For the Bengals.
This is my third, fourth week in a row betting it. It's hit every single time.
Twice.
It's just this. He's just an absolute animal. But the thing is Vegas is learning because the first time I started betting it, it was plus money. And then it was even money, and now we're at minus 150, so the odds are not the best. But I'm still putting a little bit on it just because I think he's just automatic.
Is he a rookie kicker this year?
Yes, he is.
Okay.
Where's he from? What college?
I'll have to look that up. I'm not sure. He was the only rookie drafted, though, for a kicker this year.
I wonder what round that was in. But I'll tell you what, whoever did their homework on this
only kicker to go in the first round ever was who?
Field goal
by the Raiders.
I remember. Ray Guy, maybe.
No, Sebastian
Janikowski. Yeah,
but there have been a couple of punters that may have gone in the first round. I don't know if Ray Guy did that. Russell Erksleben from Texas years ago.
He went to University of Florida. McPherson went to.
Well, they did their homework on this kid because he's been money for them. So
without them, they're not in the situation they are. Probably, just because he made so many clutch kicks against the Raiders, the Titans to win the game, and then the Chiefs won to win the game. So.
Birdie, what happened to you yesterday, man? Inquiring minds want to know at Route 6 Automotive Kia Studio at Podcast City. I was ready to put an APB out on you.
No, I was had to make a little trip to get the Whole Foods in Providence. And then a
little trip to Lincoln.
That was later on, yeah.
Yeah, and then what?
Then that was it.
Are you growing a beard? Is this the Birdie?
No, the Red Sox. The Red Sox season rested in peace last year. I'm just getting a little lazy with the razor, but it'll be coming out pretty soon.
All right.
It's winter time though. It's cold, so.
So what else is good? What else is going on?
I watched the interview yesterday, and you did a tremendous job. That was a great podcast.
That was good.
That guy, Mr. Morissette.
Yeah, Paul Morissette.
You couldn't have got a better guy in here that had a knowledge and history of everything that's gone in the Fall River area. I mean, how could you top a guy like that? So, looking forward to Mikey's upcoming fight.
Sure, absolutely.
Week from Saturday.
Are you coming with us to that?
Yeah, I should be able to go for that.
Well, let me know.
My dad wants to go too.
Your dad wants to go too.
Yeah.
All right, there we go.
Because he told me that he usually goes to Golden Gloves every year, tries to go there every single year.
Of course, yeah.
And he remembered Paul. He said that Paul, back in the day when they fought, that he was, because he told me the winner was supposed to get like something and the second place was supposed to get something, and Paul gave him both things just because like how good he did in that fight.
Yeah. And the fact that he probably sold 300 tickets.
Now, what's the capacity down there? Because I've never been
I think
there.
it's crazy. It's just the environment's crazy.
Where's that, PAL?
Yeah, have you ever been there?
Yeah, I've been there for Sage's wrestling match.
Sage's
Yeah,
wrestling
Sage's
matches.
wrestling
How
match.
many people is
I would say 600-700. I would say
700. Okay.
if that. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's. I mean, if you're, I mean, the building's not in the best shape.
No.
I mean, when's the last time you were there?
No, I've never been in there, Mike.
What?
Never?
PAL, no.
Never?
You're a virgin to the PAL on faculty and
Jesus.
Golden Gloves?
mean-
Mr. Experienced, our senior leader,
I've been
our most senior advisor.
I've been to Lincoln Park. I've seen the Gold Gloves in Lincoln
yeah.
Park. I watched the Ali Frazier fight, one on closed circuit
Yeah.
in Lincoln Park.
Wow, really?
I've seen, 1971. I was
That's awesome.
10, 11 years old. I've been and seen boxing in the Bank Street Army,
Sure, yeah.
but that PAL, I just never.
When did that open up? The PAL.
PAL's ancient.
I don't know how long ago they started doing
It's
that over
ancient,
there.
but it's a good situation. It's a hot.
I'm
it's a hot
looking
thing.
forward to it.
Any prop bets for the Super Bowl?
I haven't even looked at it yet, Mike, to be honest with you.
No?
There's plenty of time left. I'll
You
take a
should
peek
come in
at it.
prepared, homework.
Yeah, but I didn't. Yeah, I do. But prop bets,
don't
I still
call,
got
don't
10
call,
days.
don't miss on your show.
No, I got 9 days to look at the prop bets. You got to realize one thing.
But we can't. We don't have the luxury to look in days.
I'll have
we look
prop bets.
into shows, right?
I'll have prop
we got
bets.
2 shows
I'll
left.
have prop bets Monday for you then. But I thought you were looking into having some other person do some prop bets, maybe.
We're waiting on that.
Yeah.
We're waiting on
Well,
that.
the thing with the prop bets,
There could have been a COVID attack, and we're not sure if she's going to.
Okay, no, that's why I'm just
The
asking.
haunted house of PAL. I see your mother knows what's up. She's old school for sure.
No,
You ever been to the haunted house there either? Oh my God! What a sheltered life in Hillside Mansions.
Imagine.
Unbelievable.
I wasn't really.
That's not too far from you either.
I wasn't really sheltered with the Marconi Club or the Club Neptune.
I don't think it would be either.
So the prop bets. Getting back to that real quick. The thing about the prop bets, you go online to the Westgate and you see how thick they'll put out prop bets that are twice the size of this. In the thousands of prop bets that you can look at, so it can be.
Yeah, but if you can't bet it at the Westgate.
No, I understand that.
So
I can only go by.
I just looked at Sportsbook Rhode Island because I was going to check out the prop bets, and they actually do have the Pro Bowl up there.
Oh God!
They have the Pro Bowl, but it's the spread is at 0, and the money line is minus 100. The over under is at 61.5. Like, why would somebody bet on that? That's just so stupid to me. It's just like touch football,
They got to get rid of the Pro Bowl.
I don't.
The Pro Bowl's embarrassing.
I like it, but I like the skills. If you've watched the skills before that they do, the
that's-
dodgeball,
I like
the
the
kicker,
skills,
tic-tac-toe.
All of that stuff is great.
Yeah.
The only thing that sucks about it is the game.
I think if they take it a little bit more serious, like the NBA did, I loved what the NBA did, where they did every quarter, somebody wins something for a charity, and in the fourth quarter, you play each other like at the start of your score to the next thing. I think the NBA made it great so the players want to play for something. And if the NFL made it where they play for something, it'd be a lot more cool, in my opinion.
Is that Pro Bowl after the Super Bowl, or is it?
Well, the NBA...
It's this week. It's this
Well, the NBA is traditionally, over the last 40 years, 50 years, been probably the best managed sports league around, right, Birdie?
Yeah, I would think so.
I mean,
they've grown. David Stern was very.
I mean, David Stern, and this guy was, and this guy hasn't had a speed bump yet.
And they've turned it into an international, marketed internationally
they have,
very
sure,
well.
yeah.
So we got Super Bowl 57 already odds out to win the Super Bowl. Already out.
Really? What's Tampa Bay?
Yeah, they're. I don't even, yeah, not even over. They're actually super high. They're plus 1,400, which doesn't sound like a lot, but they're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They're the sixth team. They're the sixth highest team on there.
That's crazy.
That's crazy, but I didn't expect to see that.
Because people still think Tom Brady plays for Tampa Bay.
Well, yeah.
The Super Bowl line is now at 4.5, and the total is what, Birdie?
48.5.
48 and the under over, I believe, moved like 1.5 points, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, the lines moved up. The lines moved the point.
I thought it was opened at 3.5, but I thought I saw it listed as 4 originally, and then moved to 4.5. So I don't know. Maybe different books had it open originally at 4. Some might have had it at 3.5.
And you're comfortably taking the Rams.
I believe the Rams.
You've done your research and you're going with the Rams.
I'm going with the Rams based on matchups, and the biggest matchup that the Bengals are gonna have a problem in this game to me is offensive line against that Rams defensive line. Now, Kansas City's front line defense had been playing well up until the last 2 or 3 weeks going to the playoffs. You know what you're going to see when the Ram defensive line comes out there. You saw what Tennessee's defense did to Burrow, sacked them 9 times. This is a matchup nightmare right now for the Bengals, that offensive line, against Aaron Donald and what they're going to face.
I think they're going to coach their way around it. I think they're going to, man. I like the coaching staff for the Bengals. I hear
Burrow have any chance
if
in
you
this
look
game.
If you look at matchups at this game, there's no way that you said Cincinnati. There's no way if you analyze matchup, the big matchups, you know, the wide receiver against the lockdown corner, the lines against each other. You know what I mean? Like, Cincinnati's not going to come out favorable. But the collective unit and soul and spirit of
I'd be real worried about that matchup going to the game more than anything else, because you saw what the Rams have done so far in these playoffs. I know Tampa had some injuries, but Tom Brady was under siege. They figured San Francisco's offensive line out in the second half. Jimmy Garoppolo was under siege, and they solved Kyler Murray real quickly. He didn't do much in that game. So, to me, that's the biggest thing that you're going to have to keep an eye on at the beginning of that game is that Cincinnati offensive line.
And the Bucs offensive line with that injury is probably still even better than the Bengals offensive line that they have. Even without Wirfs, that's how bad the Bengals offensive line has been. Like, even though Burrow didn't get sacked many times against the Chiefs, he had to move around so much and make so many plays with his legs, and he's not going to be able to outrun Von Miller and Aaron Donald like he did to Chris Jones. Like, Aaron Donald's just a different beast, and it's going to be so hard. And that matchup, like I said, as soon as it happened, I said, this is the worst matchup for the Bengals. This is the worst team for them to face because of how well the Rams are getting to the passer and disturbing plays. So it's going to be really, really hard, but I do love their coach. I think you're onto something there. If anyone's going to go around it, Zach Taylor will be able to find something to change about it, put a tight end on that side or something.
He's coached very well in all the playoffs so far. He hasn't made any mistakes. His clock management, his game management's good, but it's going to be a tough task, that offensive line coach, and whatever, they're going to have to do something with that defense because man for man, they're just outmatched, especially in that particular matchup.
The Olympics are here. When is opening ceremonies, Riley? Because they've started already, haven't they?
I believe they have. I thought I had some hockey last night or something was on.
Some women's hockey.
Canadian,
Canadian
against Switzerland, which
February 4th.
Tomorrow. It is tomorrow. The opening ceremony is tomorrow.
Ceremonies is tomorrow. Can any of you name an athlete that you're looking forward to see perform or play in Olympics? Because I cannot. That is my confession. I do not know
George Washington.
One athlete competing for the United States now, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, I've been able to rip off 10 or 15 of them. From Eric Heiden to Phil Mayer to Jim Craig, to the figure skaters,
Michael Arruda.
We go on, and the professional hockey players. We can keep going. Okay, we can keep going.
That's what I don't like is the hockey. Like, why don't you have the professional players in there? Like, stop the NHL for whatever, a week or two, or not a week or two, but how long it's going to take, and then put the professional players in there. That'd be so fun to watch. Like, it only happens every 4 years. It's kind of like their World Cup. That would be like the best thing for me to watch, and it would just be awesome. But I don't know why they don't do that.
You've ever seen that? And I'm predating myself here, and I don't know if you remember this. The Russian hockey team back in the 70s did a tour of...
Not the 70s, the 80s, so the 80s.
No, this was in the early 70s, Mike. They played the Bruins when Bobby Orr was still there. They played the Flyers. They walked off the ice. They go to do some...
Against the Flyers, I know.
Flyers. Yeah. This was the Dave Schultz Flyers when they were...
Broadway Bullies.
Broadway Bullies. Yeah. They came out, and the Flyers literally were beating the shit out of this
They were smashing
they walked. They took the team, and he pulled them back into the locker room. And then
You want to know why they played? Because they held the purse.
Okay.
So they went out there and that's an amazing documentary.
Yep. No.
The Flyers just said, "Fuck this! You ain't rolling over us," and they just started fighting.
The Flyers were
known for that.
The Philadelphia Flyers and Sabres were probably the toughest team in NHL history. And the Bruins
one of the great nicknames of all time, the Broad Street Bullies.
That was the
Dave Schultz
name.
Bobby Clark,
Moose DuPont, Rick McLeish,
okay, they were some bad dudes.
On.
And when they used to fight the Bruins, it was must-see TV.
Oh, Terry Crisp. Those games were...
Dave Schultz.
Fred Sherrill.
Dave Schultz and Terry O'Reilly probably fought 20 times.
Wow. Yeah, no, it was...
and Terry O'Reilly was my favorite athlete back in the day.
It was WWE wrestling without being scripted because they were throwing total. You were going
and they were characters too. No teeth in their mouth.
Yes,
they loved it. It was crazy.
So that's the only comparison I could make to professional hockey players playing against. And that Russian team at the time.
So not one of us.
Shaun White, maybe.
Shaun White. I do know that.
Is he going to be there?
He is.
He's going to be there?
That a boy, Riley.
Okay, there we go.
That a boy. Can we look up the highest profile athletes in the Women's American, if we know them? Like, I know there's a black figure skater, right? I believe. African American, a female black figure skater. That's outstanding.
The last one I remember was Lindsey Vonn, and I don't know how far back that's
but that wasn't figure skating.
That was skiing, right?
That was skiing. Yeah. Who are the most high-profile winter athletes?
I got Erin Jackson, the top female speed skater. So I've never heard of her.
Yeah.
Michaela Sherfin, she does like skiing as well.
Yeah.
Shaun White, so I didn't know. I remember him when I was younger.
And he's getting old.
Because I remember him when I was younger, and I loved him because he started video games.
He was the best in the business at one time.
Cole Kim, she does one half pipe, so she does, I think, snowboarding as well.
Yeah.
Emily Sweeney, bobsled, I think.
Bobsled.
Nathan Chen, he does figure skating.
I'm rooting for the Jamaican bobsled team.
Yeah, me too. John Schuster, he's a curling legend, I guess. So, but to me, curling is just.
I love it.
U.S.
You don't like it. You don't like watching it.
Curling, no. It's just that one's a little boring to me. I like the bobsled. The bobsled is very cool to watch. They go fast. They go really fast. And then I love this. I love the snowboarding and the half pipes, but the curling. No, and then the last one says U.S. women's hockey team.
That ski jumping is pretty interesting too. When
they get high.
The ramps
oh my god!
Is Timmy Granato still the coach of that team?
Let me find that out. When do how do they practice and stuff? Like, do they have like an NHL before the women's? Like, I've never heard of like the WHL or something like that. You know what I mean?
Do they have a
WNBA?
Was Lake Placid one of their training facilities? Maybe, I don't know.
Colorado Springs, Lake Placid, all of it.
So where are these?
Speaking of the Winter Olympics, we got some controversy with the United States men's national soccer team. And Birdie, you didn't like it.
Well, I was just I didn't know anything about it until I heard about it, and I was like, wow, that's pretty crazy.
The U.S. men's soccer team scheduled an outdoor game for February 2nd in Minnesota to get a distinct home field advantage. Tired of tropical monsoons in Central America, beat up turfs, intense heat and humidity and mosquitoes. They wanted to get their version of home field. Well, they certainly did. But the problem is they almost killed a few fans and a few Hondurans playing in the game. Let me repeat. 2 Hondurans rushed to the hospital for hypothermia. Fans rushed to the hospital for serious health issues related to the cold weather. It's minus 15. It's soccer. Home field advantage is one thing, but Riley's got a shitty grin on his face, and he's probably going to say the same thing I'm going to say. Go ahead.
I don't think anything's wrong with it. You signed up to play the game, and they have to go down there and play at 100-something degrees. They have to go down there when fans are throwing stuff at them. They have to go down there and play.
When the fields are a mess.
Yeah, when they play on grass that's like half eaten by the monsters over there. Like, it's just not like their fields are terrible, and their stadium and their like conditions are not good. And it's just sure a couple players went for frostbite. You don't want to see that. You don't want to see them get hurt, but. They have to play. They could get what is it called when you like the heat waves and stuff like that when they're down there. Heat stroke. You could get heat stroke during those games, but they don't stop. Like what they do is they stop the games halfway, like 20 minutes in, and then you give you like a water break. But during the cold, there's nothing much you could do. Like the coach of the goalie of the USA team, he was like wearing blankets in the middle of the game, and like when they would come, he would like put it down.
Taking pictures with fans, I don't like that.
I don't mind it just because like. Nothing was going on. The game was 3-0 down. They were like helping out a hurt player that was doing something, and then the fans were right there, and they're getting hyped because they really, really needed to win this game to be able to stay up top of their.
So we're gonna make the World Cup.
It's not guaranteed yet because if we would have finished ahead of Canada, then yes, we would have. But they have to go into like this playoff thing because Canada got the number 1 spot. Because that's how it ended. So it's not guaranteed, but it's almost guaranteed. You know what I mean? Like, we're getting there, and it's very, very close.
So who's next for the USA soccer team after this win?
And are they going to play in Alaska or the North Pole next? Who owns
Probably
the North
not.
Pole? Who owns the North Pole?
I couldn't tell
Who discovered the North Pole? Commander Perry?
It was, I believe so.
Who discovered the North Pole? Riley, can we look that up?
Was it Antarctica? I don't know, Mike. What is so now?
The South Pole is
South Pole
no.
might have no. I
So
don't
they got 3 more final rounds coming up.
What's
One huge game, absolutely monster game against Mexico, March 24th. They need to win that game.
So that's the next scheduled game for them?
Yes, March 24th, but that will be next international break. So every like 2 months, we'll get an international break for like 2 weeks where they go play for the national teams. But they got a monster game against Mexico. If they win that pretty much locks them up to be guaranteed to go in because Mexico's the best team left that need to play these games. And then they play Panama, and then they play Costa Rica, and Costa Rica will be a pretty tough game. But the Mexico game is in Mexico, and the Panama game is at home.
This is to qualify for
the 2022 World Cup coming up in November.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
So these games are going to be monster, and especially this Mexico game is going to have so much vital stuff going on in this game.
Now that you've stated that it's for World Cup qualification, I think that explains why they were going to play that game no matter what the temperature was.
These games are going to be tough because these are it's 2, 3, 4, and 5 all facing off of each other. So you got USA at number 2 in their group, Mexico at number 3, Panama at number 4, Costa Rica at number 5. So you got USA's playing number 3 team, number 4 team, and number 5 team. So there's going to not be no more walkovers. Against Honduras, they were the 8th place team, and they lost every single game minus 1 game. So they played 11 games, they lost 10, and they won 1. So I mean. There's not going to be any cakewalks here. Mexico's going to be really, really tough. Mexico does not like USA, especially because the rivalry has been heating up over the last couple of months, and USA winning for the first time since like 1930 for 3 times in 1 year. So that's going to be a really, really rough game. And Panama and Costa Rica, they think they can do it because they're not far off. So they have to be on top of their game.
So let me ask you this. Based on what you just told me, what would you put their percentages on as far as to make it or not make it?
It all depends on the Mexico game, in my opinion. If they go out and they have a bad game against Mexico and they lose 2-1 or they lose 2-0 like they did against Canada, that could completely shoot down their confidence and completely kill them and bring it down from like right now I'm at like a 70%, 80. If they lose to Mexico, it brings it right down to like a 40 or 30.
With the international community is being better than
No, I wouldn't say so because recently USA's turning it around. USA have a better team than them. They've played better than them. They've beat them 3 times out of the last 3. They're head to head just better than them right now. So historically, yes, they would be favored, but right now the tides are turning and USA's looking really good. So I would
put that camera on me. I was at TNT.
So I think that
our sponsor wants to shout out. Riley's got his
pizza dogs.
Riley's got his pizza dogs, and I got mine just sauce. TNT and something. I'm a forever boy. I'm a forever boy through and through. Okay? I am a forever boy through and through. Nobody can dispute that. So I never, ever thought I would cheat on the legendary, iconic spots like Graham's and JJ's and Nick's and Finique's and where else?
Rogers Hot Dogs, North Main Street.
What's that other place on South Main Street that's good?
JJ's, Nick's. There's one way down on East Main Street, too. I can't think of the name of it, but...
But let me tell you something right now, folks. The best hot dog around is TNT in Somerset. I said it, all right?
Oh. First-hand knowledge right there. Taste test. So, getting back to the soccer.
Yes, I love them.
I try to limit that, but, you know, they're so good. So that explains why they played in minus 16-degree weather.
Yeah, you can't.
I didn't realize it was a World Cup qualifying game, and I don't blame them now because if the game's that important, you aren't gonna give that other team.
And not just that, scheduling issues, because this is the last couple.
It didn't play well on the news.
I've had frostbite. That's no joke.
Scheduling issues, because this is like the last week of the international break, so they need to get back to their teams. And there was absolutely no. I know, but I'm saying you can't reschedule it. Like scheduling issues to reschedule it. Exactly. That's why you can't do it. You can't like reschedule because they have to go back to their teams, and it does look bad, but. You got to keep moving on. You got to play in the if there's no lightning play.
Excuse me. I've seen some soccer fields that the USA has played on international competition that were
ferocious.
That pros that nobody of that quality belonged to them. So, hey, it is what it is. And the United States still has that underdog mentality with soccer, where we're scratching and clawing and trying to get the World Cup. Something that bothered me, and tell me if I'm wrong, and tell me this broke the code. Love Dustin Pedroia as a baseball player. Didn't like him in front of a microphone. Didn't like some of the stuff I've heard about his politics and his arrogance.
Okay.
Dustin Pedroia put Manny Ramirez on blast.
Really?
And said that there's no way he should be a Hall of Famer.
Wow. Are you kidding me?
I'm not kidding.
I hadn't seen this. Well, I mean, some of these guys, the famous saying is open mouth, insert foot. I don't know what his relationship with Manny was. There could have been some... Manny wasn't the greatest teammate, probably not the greatest guy to get along with.
Pedroia had problems with a lot of guys too in that locker room.
I don't like that comment. I think it's completely out of line to think who I consider one of the greatest hitters that I've seen in my generation. I've seen a lot of them. For him to say that, I mean, there's got to be some more to it than just that.
But why would you talk about your teammate like that?
Like I said,
if you felt that strongly, why don't you just say, "Hey, listen, I'm gonna let the
defer to some other next question."
Next question.
I hadn't seen that, but that's interesting. Interesting statement.
I feel like the MLB is one of the hardest. What do you call that? Hall of Fames to get into, though. As well, because like
prestigious.
Yeah, definitely. And some people have
because you remember Riley, right? In the 1930s and 40s and 50s and 60s, the only sports you could really make money at was baseball, boxing, and horse racing. Those were the money sports. I mean, Steve Grogan in the 70s as a starting quarterback worked on a farm part time.
Yep. Yeah, no.
Deacon
Jones retired, one of the most feared linemen in the NFL. You know what his pension was when he retired? It's like about $300 a month. That's what the union you were looking at back then in the 60s. I mean, Johnny Unitas couldn't sign autographs because his hand, the arthritis, because they couldn't get medical coverage to pay the bills. That's why Mike Ditka and a couple of those other guys went screaming in the microphone on ESPN talking about Gene Upshaw, screaming at him to make this change this thing with the union. So, I mean, it's come a long way. Baseball and football. People don't realize, even back in the 60s, you were a baseball player. You had to get a job part-time in the off-season.
Not as a baseball player, you did it.
I'm talking about back in the 60s, Mike. I'm talking about back in the 60s.
Maybe in the 60s.
This is before the Kurt Flood free agency.
But I'm talking about Steve Grogan, in his 70s and early 80s.
Those guys weren't getting paid.
He had to go back and work in Kansas.
Yeah, no, it's.
But I was a little disappointed that Pedroia would do him like that, from one teammate to another, especially with the World Series wins that you have together.
Normally,
that's not cool, bro.
You don't want to call out teammates like that and make comments like that.
Nah.
We've seen other guys do it. I know Schillens was kind of put his foot in his mouth. But I don't know if Schillen ever came out against any of his teammates, though. But, yeah, that's not a good look for Pedroia.
Why, though?
Like I said, maybe there's some underlying animosity between those guys. We don't know what goes on in the dugout. I know among the Latin players, they were all pretty tight group. Ortiz,
sure.
Manny, Pedro, all you know. And what Pedroia's issue is, who knows?
All right, let's move on to 7 questions. Are we ready for this?
This is
live at the Route 6 Auto Mile Kia Studios at BadCatz City. 7 questions, a staple of our show. This is not going to be all NFL, folks, because we are
thank God.
Yeah, we're in a detox. We want to be fresh and hit the ground running on Tuesday.
Riley, roll the dice.
All right, what question we want? Give me what?
3.
Ooh. Flores suit.
How did that come first?
Bribing coaches to throw games. The NFL could possibly be in some serious trouble. Could this be the scandal that gets Roger Goodell to lose his job and lose the faith of the board of directors and the board of owners? I say absolutely 100% unequivocally yes. Because you know what's going to happen? You know who's going to fire Roger Goodell? It's going to be Coke, Pepsi, McDonald's,
like we said,
Burger King, Nike, boom.
When it affects your bottom line, like we said earlier.
When they say there is institutional issues here, we can move on.
I think
Riley feels a certain kind of way. Let's hear him do his thing. God, Rouse.
All right, Riley.
I don't think that I don't know. It just depends if they have, if the money doesn't change, then they probably won't fire him because that's all they care about. But I don't think the Giants did anything wrong just because they followed the rule. They interviewed him, and sure, they made up their mind already. They made up their mind. Sure, Belichick is kind of proof that they made up their mind, but they followed the rule. If they didn't want to follow the rule and they didn't want to interview him, I don't believe they should have to, but they followed the rule, and they did what the rule said. And to me, following the rule is going against the racism. You're following the rule, and they interviewed him and gave him the opportunity.
Yeah, I see. I think doing an interview is the predicate here. When you interview somebody, you have to assume that there is a job opening and available. Where they interviewed him when they had made a decision on that job already, in my opinion. Birdie, what do you think?
I think they circumvented the rule. I don't think you can bring him in there if you've already predetermined who your coach is. I mean,
there's been thousands of interviews in our lifetime of coaches saying they get a job because they got their guy. And if they did that to appease the Rooney Rule,
that's kind of where I'm going with it.
It takes the teeth out of it, right?
That's what I would,
technically, what Riley's saying has some merit because they did interview him. They followed through with the process and interviewed him.
That's why I think in a lawsuit he's going to lose, because if you just go into the court of law and you just say,
hold on a second. You think Brian Flores is going to lose this lawsuit?
Yes, I believe so. Yes, because if you go into the court of law and you say, look, we followed the rule and we did exactly what the rule stated.
But they didn't follow the rule, Riley.
They did.
No, they didn't follow the rule.
They did.
That's the problem, though.
They did.
Go get the definition for interview on Webster.
Okay, and I will. And they did exactly that. They did exactly that.
No, they didn't.
What they did was they brought him in and followed that rule and said,
my mother worked
okay, we're going to do it.
Corporate America with New England Telephone 1,000 times. Came from a 16-and-a-half-year-old pregnant operator all all the way to the top of the money chain working in corporate. You cannot have interviews.
Circumvented it.
You cannot have interviews
Predetermined.
With your mind already made up.
Then don't have that rule in place. If they don't want the guy, then why should they have to?
Because you can't. So why did the Giants just cancel the interview?
Because that's not following the rule. They followed the rule. If they cancel the interview, isn't the Rooney Rule is every interview you have, you're supposed to have of someone of a minority.
Up to a point. The smoking gun here is the text. You're right. They followed it as far as they went through the process.
Yeah.
They did not anticipate this blowing up because of that text, though. So technically, they followed the rule. When it blew up, that's the smoking gun that now the text from Belichick shows that you might have followed the rule, but you knowingly had already hired this guy.
So what are they gonna charge them with? If they didn't break the rule, because there's no rule being broken, they followed the rule. They just bend the line.
But it's going to.
This isn't federal law here. Oh. This is bylaws in the institution of the league and the protections that are given the NFL from the legal bodies and all of that to discipline.
Yeah, but I'm saying, isn't he's suing them for racism?
All of them.
And the text is a smoking gun that he has, which nobody had to challenge the NFL with before. This rule has probably been superseded many times in the past. But made a sham on it. But they've never had the smoking gun like they do now with the text from Belichick, where he can come bring that in. And if Belichick gets subpoenaed and he has to go in there and testify, what's he going to say?
But why not this, right? Why don't the Giants just say, "Hey, listen, we respect the Mira family has been in this league as long as the Rooneys have.
Yeah.
Okay, we respect this. You know, we do our due diligence. We're in a city that is the melting pot of the world, New York City. Okay." We like this guy so much. We do not want to cheapen Mr. Flores' process. We saw it. We liked it. So therefore, we're going to cancel the interim Mr. Flores, confident that he will get another job in the National Football League.
Yeah, well, that would have been.
That is what you do.
Because that's not following the rule. The rule is.
What are you talking about?
That's not the Rooney Rule is when you interview somebody, you have to interview somebody of a different.
In good faith, Riley.
Yes, but you have to.
Faith.
Okay, then you're not following the rule. Then he would still lawsuit against them because that would still be racism, right? Would it not? Because they didn't interview him.
You know enough about the subject.
No, you're right. He's right.
Exactly.
They have to interview him so they can follow the letter of the law.
But it no longer becomes an interview.
Yes, you're right.
When the fucking outcome is predetermined.
Yeah, that's
but
correct.
it's an interview, though.
But what he's saying is
you're interviewing for the job that has already been taken.
The Giants got caught. They got caught, obviously, when this all come out and it all blew up. But they assumed they were following the letter of the Rooney Rule, Mike.
No. They were playing the fucking game.
Yes.
And they were
I'm not disagreeing with that. And it blew up when the text came out is what it is. But I agree with his point as far as following the rule, Riley. But you can't. I can't agree with you thinking they're going to win that in court, though.
Because if they didn't interview him, that's breaking the rule.
The judge is going to ask them, "Did you have your mind made up according to this text message?"
And if they subpoena Belichick,
did you tell the Honorable Bill Belichick that you had made your mind up, that you had made your guy up? So why go through with the fucking dog and pony show?
They got caught.
Yeah,
they got caught.
I understand why they're doing it, and you know something? And I agree with Ryzen. Why have the rule?
Yeah, no, it's been manipulated for years, Mike. You know that as well as I.
Why have the rule?
It's because it's the rules of the Rooney Rule aren't enough enforceable to supersede what's been going on for years. Obviously, it's been a sham for years, and these teams have no accountability to justify why they would not hire a guy. That's the way I see it.
So the rule says the Rooney Rule is a NFL policy that requires league teams to interview ethnic minority candidates for head coaching and senior football operation jobs. So if they didn't interview him saying that we already made our mind up, that would be breaking the rule. So that's why they couldn't have not interviewed him.
Before that becomes relevant, the definition of interview is more relevant.
In good faith, like you said, the words "in good faith."
Yes,
obviously.
I agree. But what I'm saying is, what if they would have done not interviewing? That's breaking the rule more than not.
So they had to go through the motions.
They had to.
I think that is a deliberate attempt to circumvent and cheapen the process by lying about lying about not having somebody and going through with the dog and pony show anyway. That is gross misconduct in the corporate world.
No doubt. And they never expected it to blow up in their face when this all happened because of the misplaced text of Belichick. But you're not going to tell me that we all know this has been going on for years with these interviews based on the numbers.
Yeah, this thing is of the interview. An oral examination of an applicant for a job available or an admission pending.
Yeah, the lawyers are going to twist this on both sides to their advantage any way they can, based on what language is in
But
it.
I just don't think that the NFL is going to go to distance with this.
I don't.
I don't.
See, now here's the question, Mike. If you're Flores now, and the NFL is going to try to make this go away with money, are you going to take the money, or are you going to say...
Flores said he's standing for 1,000 men behind him.
Okay.
He already didn't take the money when he didn't want to lose.
So he's going to go the distance with this then?
Yeah.
Sounds like it.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I'm just wondering what
the distance will probably end up in the Supreme Court, you would think, right?
And it would also mean Belichick's probably going to get subpoenaed.
Without question. That's why Stephen A. Smith blasted Flores today.
Why would Stephen A. blast?
Because he says, Belichick did that to you as a friend, man. Like, you just turned his life upside down here. Oof. And that's an ethical thing, too.
Yeah, then, no, it's... Wow, I didn't even think of it from that angle.
I mean, you have to.
That's a tough spot. You're in a tough spot either way.
Let me tell you something.
You made a mistake.
Brian Flores could be, okay, fooling me, right? Like Riley said today, off air to me. Hey, maybe this guy's full of shit, Mike. Maybe this guy's not the one to hire. Who knows?
Yeah.
He could be fooling me. I just know, okay, in this day and age, okay,
yep,
to have a black, young, by the book, who worked his way up the chain from internships.
That's correct. No, yeah.
With the Kraft family.
Came up through the ranks.
Up through the ranks.
Soldier.
Of the finest organization.
Yeah, no, I'm not.
Arguably in sports today. Okay?
Yeah.
And he wins 8 out of his last 9 games.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And gets fired. And then can't get rehired. Well,
that's the problem.
In a league that's 75% black.
Yeah, no, I mean, we're not talking about one team looking for a coach. The Giants. You had, 7 or 8 job openings? 9?
Yeah, I disagree, though. I think the real issue is, why did the Giants have? Is it because he didn't tank?
Well, that's a whole separate issue.
Right? I mean, is that a possibility that he didn't tank? That he didn't tank?
These ownerships are very tight-knit.
I know.
I mean, we don't know. That's a whole separate issue now, aside from the Rooney Rule. So, like you said, the NFL's got more. There's blood in the water. It's more than just the Rooney Rule now. You're looking at this tanking thing as a whole separate...
You're looking at collusion. Yeah. You're looking at all kinds of shit. Okay, next question.
Number 7.
Number 7 is... Should the Major League Baseball address their Hall of Fame voting controversy?
I would say so, yes. Because you've got a guy in the Hall of Fame, Ivan Pudge Rodriguez, who might have been the first one
to take, without question,
steroids that is in there, and yet you've got a guy in Barry Bonds, and I'm not defending these guys either way, I'm just answering the question. Barry Bonds, to me, was a 5-tool player, was a Hall of Famer, even without steroids.
We know that.
Roger Clemens also was a Hall of Fame player.
Ramirez.
So if you're going to put one of these guys in, it's going to have to be a house of cards. You can't... The media's controlling this, Mike. I mean, the Hall of Fame committee. I'm sorry.
Should we bring back the asterisk, Riley? Like we do it. Do you understand what happened with the asterisk with Roger Maris?
Yeah.
You know the story about that? That he played 3 extra games?
Yeah.
Okay. Some people said that was a terrible thing to do to Roger Maris. And historians, you may disagree, but if I'm Roger Clemens, I'll take that asterisk there in my name. and make that designation and say that to get into the Hall of Fame?
Well, to answer the question, I think then there needs something to be changed. I think this committee's got too much power in these votes, and some of these voters are out of their minds with what they're doing.
Well, did you hear Paul Morissette talking about how boxing judges, if they don't like your style, they don't go for the.
No, absolutely. No.
Rouse, what do you think?
It's human error, I guess. It's just if they don't like something, then that's what they're there for. People are asking them for their opinion, and they're giving it to them. If they don't like it, then sure, I agree. Some of those players should have been 100% voted in, but they're asking for their opinion. They're using it. Should they change it? Probably, but how would they? Like everyone's gonna be biased in some point. You know what I mean? Like if you get different people, some might not like if you get a Boston writer, he might not like the Yankees. That's why he didn't vote for Jeter. Or he might not like David Ortiz. So how would we be able to find somebody who's completely would be fair for everyone? Like, I don't know where you would start for that. Because that's just, it's hard to find somebody who's going to be completely down the middle fair with who knows baseball and doesn't let their ability.
How about this? You didn't vote for Pedro Martinez. You didn't vote for Jeter, and you didn't vote for Bonds, Schilling, or this one or that one.
Maybe you should put why you shouldn't vote for the people. Like if you don't vote for this guy, they'll send you a letter and be like, hey, why didn't you vote for Jeter? It was exhibit A, B, C, and then the higher ups be like, okay, let's vote on if this is a fair enough way why he shouldn't vote for him. And if they say it wasn't a fair enough, okay, you're off the committee, and then you keep going. I think that's a perfect way.
How about a lauded history of controversial votes? Like like Shaughnessy voting for Baggio over Pedro.
Yeah, no, they can.
But
there's no accountability for these guys, like you said.
Yeah, hold them accountable. I think
that's what I want. I think that's hold them accountable.
Yeah.
Well, the only way to change this slightly is now Bonds and Clemens are off the ballot, from what I understand.
Yeah.
So the only way they can get in now is it has to go to the Veterans Committee, and they will, however that works. So.
And they'll
blackball you.
But I think the MLB kind of likes it because it gets people to talk about the MLB, gets people to talk about it and want to watch it. So that's why it's good. But how did this guy not, like now we're talking about how did this guy not vote for person A? And he gets them talking about it.
Here's my need for reform. And it's similar to the Roger Goodell thing, right? If you are the commissioner, right? Commissioner Reagan for Blue Bloods. You're in charge of the big picture, right? Everybody, right?
Supposed to be, yep.
Right?
Yep.
So this guy let this shit go on.
You're talking about Sealing?
Sealing.
Oh, without a doubt. Without a doubt, Mike.
And
we know why. It was because the money that was coming in during that McGuire area when that
he looks and smells to me like a predicate charge on this.
And what he did was he took the door out and rode off into the sunset with all the money and then just walked away from it. But it's... No, something needs to be done with the this Hall of Fame thing. It's just.
Next question is, I got a couple of good ones waiting for you, fools.
Number one.
I don't think can top that.
Which team from New England is closest to the next World Championship?
It ain't the Red Sox, I can tell you that.
Really?
And your boy Nick, who I watched go off on a big rant the other night, and I couldn't agree with him more. The other guy, Jimmy's friend, when he started going off on his rant, let me tell you something right now. He was 100% right about the Red Sox ownership right now, or what they've done in the offseason and the money they've spent on free agency. But that's another story for later on.
But I think that they might be the closest.
I think the Bruins.
I think they caught lightning.
I think it's the Bruins and the Patriots to me are the closest.
Really?
Yes, I think the Celtics are probably the farthest, honestly. I think the Celtics are the farthest, but I would say...
I think the Bruins are the furthest.
I think the Bruins have a small window.
No, the Bruins have a really good team, right? Not a really good team, but they have a good team.
They're in 7th or 8th place right now, Rob.
Yeah, no, I know, I'm saying, but they have a good team, but they can go out there and make noise. They did pretty decent last season.
Yeah.
I would also put the Patriots...
the Red Sox...
Mikey.
We're a game away.
Yeah, but they caught lightning in the bottle last year. They're pitching. The signings that they made this year in free agency for pitching right now are atrocious. Michael Walker, the worst pitcher in Tampa last year, like a number 5 starter that you're adding to the rotation, and James Paxton, who's coming off an elbow injury, who was horrible with Seattle and the Yankees. And you're bringing those guys. And I know they let Erod go. I kind of liked Erod, but I could see them letting go. They didn't want to pay him $77 million. But you're going to add those guys to your pitching rotation? Good luck.
Closest, I think the Patriots are a wild card as well, just because they're the team we've seen I guess in the playoffs, the most recent. Sure, they look terrible against the Bills game, but they're so young, and the core of their team is pretty young, and they have the best coach out of all of the teams, respectively, per each team. They have some money. They just spent money on their defense, so their defense is going to be there. Mac Jones is their key player, and he's the youngest one. So I would say the Patriots are right there as well. But it's if you would have told me 5 years ago that this is what it's going to be looking like, where we don't know which team is the closest because they're all not looking too hot, I would have been like, yeah, no way.
Celtics are trending up.
They are, but the East is so clogged for me.
The core is young. Okay, I think the war will fight is. I think.
Get hot at the right time.
When you talk about coaches, I think if there's a coach that's on the level of Belichick, I think it's Cora.
Oh, I love Alex Cora, and I would never disagree.
I would have put him on the level of Belichick, but I think that he may go down as one of the greatest baseball managers of all time.
He could, but his hands are being tied with this free agency, with the way that they're running, bringing the players in there.
Bruins and Celtics are in similar situations, underachieving, but what's their ceiling?
I think the Bruins are higher than the Celtics would be, in my opinion, just because
I don't know.
The Celtics team, we've seen it do so many times, and they've never got into the They never got into the NBA Finals. This Celtics core never got to the NBA Finals.
Yeah.
They got to the Eastern Conference Finals twice, and then. But that was with Kyrie. They made it in the bubble, and then after that, they haven't looked great.
How many times has the Bruins made it to a conference final in the last couple of years? I know they've lost.
They went to the World. They
lost to Chicago.
They went to the Stanley Cup. This core, I would about to say, they went to a few players: Marchand, Bergeron, and Rask. They went there. They went to the Stanley Cup twice at least with the Blackhawks and the Blues. So most of these people actually on this team were probably in that Stanley Cup final 2 years ago, right? Against the Blues.
That's correct.
Game 7 where they should have won, but
the majority of the roster.
Yeah, that's why I give it to them, just because they have the window is closing. They need to win soon. Not guaranteeing a win, but they've been there. They know what it's about. The Celtics, to me, it's just. I was so hot on them a couple of years ago, and then it's been going down instead of going up, and I expected it to go the other way.
Well, they just did something with Rask too. Did they move Rask? They're going to keep him out there after the All-Star break?
I didn't see what. Yeah, give him the key to the playoffs in the NHL is always goaltending. Rask coming off the injury last year, if he can get back to the form he did, like you said, 2 years ago against when they played the Blues in the finals. He came off the injury. He's only had about 3, 4, 5 games since he got back there. So he's going to be the key to them as far as how far they're going to go. They're going to have to get the solid goaltending once the playoffs stop, because they're going to be up against it if they end up in the 7 or 8 seed.
But if there's one place you can take a 7 or 8 seed to the top, it's hockey.
It's with the hot goaltender. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Like I said, it always comes down to goaltending.
Next question is this. The Mount Rushmore of Boston sports. What is it?
Well, we all have to knock off Brady.
We've had this question.
We all have to knock off Brady. That's guaranteed one spot. So there's only three spots left.
Yeah, but it's only one per team, right?
No.
So to me, there's only 2 spots left.
Well,
I would say Brady and Belichick would have to be up there for me.
Over Red Auerbach?
Belichick, because I think those two go hand in hand for the all 6 championships. They both played a huge part for both of them, and probably the biggest dynasty maybe in sports ever.
What the Boston Celtics you're talking about, right?
The Patriots that held the reign over the NFL for the juggernaut of sports. I would say Bill Russell as well.
Bill Russell is my Celtic over Larry Bird.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with that.
Yes, I would agree.
You're definitely putting Bobby Orr on there.
Bobby Orr's on there.
That's my 4 right there, done.
So here's my 4. And I thought about Belichick long and hard. I thought about Red Auerbach long and hard. I thought about Big Papi. I thought about Ted Williams long and hard. And I went with Pedro Martinez because, let me explain something to you why. He changed the culture from a losing culture to a winning culture. And not only was he the leader of the Red Sox, he was by far the best pitcher in baseball and arguably the best pitcher of all time.
I've seen him for 50 years, and I can't say I've seen anybody better than him. I didn't see Sandy
a lot of people
Koufax.
won't put Pedro here.
No.
So I'm gonna go Brady, Bobby Orr, Bill Russell, Pedro.
Well, you're not going to get any argument. You could split hairs.
No, they would argue about Pedro, and they would argue about Belichick.
You could split hairs with Pedro or Papi. I mean, what Poppy did to
my argument, I think Burke obviously has the best resume, but Riley says, but I've told you before, back in the day,
here's the problem.
There wasn't a lot of basketball people in the NBA game or football.
But
when Belichick did it, football was at its highest level of competition.
And not just that, for how long they were at the top.
But I want to counter that argument because Red Auerbach did it over several generations as a coach, general manager, and president. He brought in players in different eras.
I know, but there wasn't basketball fucking guys making decisions then.
During the Bill Russell period time.
No.
But I'm talking about
what sane man would trade Rick Roby for Dennis Johnson?
I understand that, but he did it. He did it over and over. Joe Barry Carroll.
The other guys were uncovered. The Joe Barry Carroll move wasn't. It didn't look like a bad move for Golden State.
No, it didn't turn out too well. Well, and the thing, as far as Belichick goes, Belichick hasn't done it without anybody that was not listed as Tom Brady. So that's why I can't.
Yeah, but if Belichick's, to me,
I'm just giving you my
to
opinion.
me, both of those guys being there, they're the staple of the Patriots dynasty. Like when you think of the Patriots dynasty, you think of Belichick, you think of Brady. They're both of them there. Whatever one you think of first, don't matter. They're both there. If one wasn't there and the other wasn't, they don't win as much as 6. I think they've worked together so well because of how they work. So for me, it's Brady, Belichick, Bobby Orr, and Bill Russell.
I got you.
It's hard to leave off a Red Sox, but for me, it's so hard to put Brady and not put Belichick.
What about Ted Williams? One of those old timers
yes,
that scream from the hills.
The problem is we never saw him.
No postseason success, though.
We didn't see it.
That's another thing. That's another thing about the Red Sox is that like. The thing about the Patriots and the Celtics, Bill Russell won 11. Tom Brady and Belichick won 6 in the NFL, where it's tough to even win 1. That's why Ted Williams none.
There isn't any person I've talked to that predates me that knows about Ted Williams that would not say he was the greatest hitter that they ever saw. But
it wasn't that they ever saw. Okay, it wasn't a better hitter than Babe Ruth.
Well, like I said, that's going. Now you're going back.
Well,
I didn't see him play.
No, I didn't see him play, but you didn't see Williams play either.
No, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. But I'm talking about anybody that's seen him during that time frame is saying that.
But what do you think about his postseason numbers, and what do you think about? He also missed 3.5 years, 4 years.
That's what you got to factor that in.
Sure. And if it was the Monument of War Heroes from Boston, then he would be first in line.
Yeah, no, that's. You're not gonna go wrong if you're throwing any of those names in there. You're
you're gonna go wrong.
You stimulate an argument as for what guy you can put in there, who you can't.
Bill Russell's the great. When he retired, was the greatest winner all time in all the sports. Back-to-back high school championships, back-to-back college championships, Olympic gold medal championships. 11 out of 12 there. Yeah. So when he retires, that's it.
It's silly. It's silly.
Bobby Orr changed the game of hockey. He was by far the best player out there. I think we can all agree that Pedro was. It could be one of the greatest pitchers of all time.
Oh, he is.
He is. Yeah. And then the guy we haven't even mentioned yet is better than all of them.
The GOAT. His success, his playing time.
MVP in the Super Bowl.
Wow.
Who is it?
Throw a dot. Riley?
Well, I've choice between 2. I can't really pick one yet, but it's either Von Miller or Aaron Donald. Not just because I'm a Von Miller fan. I just think the matchup bodes so well for those two that they're going to have so many opportunities to make play, which sounds stupid because, like, sure, Matthew Stafford's going to touch the ball the whole time, but they could have so many opportunities to make game-changing plays where they go and strip sack Burrow, do this. So I like one of those two, but if it isn't one of them, I would have to probably say Matthew Stafford just because he's been playing so well and haven't been making many mistakes. But picking one, I'm going to go with Aaron Donald.
Well, I'm going to go play the chalk. You know what they say, the chalk is the safe bet. Triple Crown winner this year. Money player.
Oh.
Cooper Cup.
No, I'm going with?
Odell Beckham Jr.
No.
Yo, you're going with Joe Burrow then.
I'm not going with Joe Burrow.
No, wow, okay.
Jamar Chase.
Boy to kick up.
Evan McPherson?
Evan McPherson. What's his odds to win?
I'll tell you what, it's got to be high.
That'd be so impressive just because of how offensive.
I'm going McPherson. I think like a 62-year-old field goal to win the game.
Oh,
that's what I'm saying. Evan McPherson.
It's indoors, so the kick should be sustainably longer to make when you're not dealing with any conditions.
Last question, and we'll wrap it up. And I think it's ironic that it's this one. Tom Brady said he isn't going to New England for some pomp and circumstance, one-day retirement thing.
I'm going to hold. Tom Brady's always been a man of his word. I'm going to hold him to it. And Tom Brady's not a He's a low-key guy, Mike. I wouldn't doubt for one minute that he's. And we don't know the whole dynamic of everything that happened there. So I'm going to say, yeah, I agree with it. He's probably might not show up.
No, you think it's okay that he doesn't do it?
I'm not a Patriot fan, too, really. But ask Jimmy that. That's more his area.
I think it's perfectly well. I have no problem with it. Go ahead.
I think he should probably retire a Patriot. I don't know if he will, but to me, spending, 20 out of 22 years of your career there, winning that much, making the franchise what it is, I feel like he should retire there, but Willie, I don't know.
No, he said he's not.
He's not going to?
He said he's not going to.
Willie going to me, the bigger thing would be Willie going to Hall of Fame as a Patriot.
Yeah, he's going to Hall of Fame as a Patriot.
So, signing a one-day deal, not a huge deal. I think you could pick.
One of them you can't pick. There's one Hall of Fame that you can't pick. But no, I think Tom Brady. I think Tom Brady's going to Hall of Fame as a Patriot, and I think then and only then would people have a little right to be mad at him if he went in as anything else other than that. But this other nonsense, it's done. Well, that's another hour and 40 minutes of some BadCatz sports. You got trivia, Birdman?
I got a couple if you want to.
We are live. We are live from the Route 6 Auto Mall Kia Studios at Podcast City. Route 6 Auto Mall Kia Studios at Podcast City. As we get to wrap it up, again, Birdman.
Okay, I'm going to give you a couple of quick fun facts, and then we're going to throw a couple of questions at you. A ticket price for the first Super Bowl in the LA Coliseum, the average price of a ticket for Super Bowl #1 was? Any guesses?
$5.
Riley?
$20.
$12.
Okay.
I wonder what it's going to be this year. Okay.
I saw the chart. It's on the 4 beat. Check it out. It's outrageous.
The 1985 Bears, Chicago Bears, the greatest defense of all time, set a Super Bowl record that still stands to this day by holding the Patriots to
3 points.
This amount of rushing yards. I'm going to give you a choice: 2, 7, 9, or 11.
2.
Riley?
9.
7.
Damn. All right, that's a low amount.
Oh, you kidding me? Let's see here. The first coach in Super Bowl history to win a NCAA championship and a Super Bowl was?
First coach to win a national title and a Super Bowl?
Championship and a Super Bowl was?
Wow.
First coach.
First. There's been a few.
Has he been a... Oh, so this is...
NCAA thing?
He won an NCAA championship and then he won a Super Bowl.
Really?
That's...
Who would that be?
I don't know.
NCAA championship. All right. As a head coach.
Yep. You know this, Mike. Come on.
What years was he on?
Michael Irvin, the U.
Oh,
Jimmy Johnson, Mikey. Okay, here's another good one that we're gonna. Fun fact: the Super Bowl is the most viewed event in the worldwide, except for one event. Incorrect. Right?
The Champions League final.
Bingo.
Yes.
The Championship League final. It was actually
had more viewers than the World Cup.
No, it's yearly. So the World Cup doesn't come around yearly. So those are in like the 4 billions, but the Champions League yearly is the most viewed thing.
Okay, this is kind of a tricky question.
How close were those numbers?
I'll have to research it.
I
don't think they showed the numbers, but it just said the UEA
I don't think it's close.
Cup.
It might be like 10 times it around there.
The player that's played in the most Super Bowls in the history of the Super Bowl is
Tom Brady.
And remember, there's a guy by the name of who that played in quite a few.
Tom Brady.
Nah, what about this other guy?
Tom Brady played in what?
All right, Tom Brady or Charles Haley?
Yeah.
Who played in the most?
Brady. Yeah, Brady or Haley?
Brady.
You're correct. 9-8.
9 he played in?
9 for Brady, 8 for Haley. Let's see. One more question.
Yeah. I thought it was 10, but I did my math wrong.
The highest rated Super Bowl, according to Nielsen ratings, in the history of the Super Bowl,
I know what it is. It's the Patriots and the Seahawks.
That is incorrect.
Nope, I promise the Patriots and the Seahawks.
No, it's not. I'm telling
you.
It is
all right, I'll look it up.
According to Nielsen ratings. TV.
Okay.
Then
and a snowstorm had...
Pats Giants.
No, that's incorrect.
The Steelers and the Cardinals.
That's incorrect. A big snowstorm on the east had a lot to do with this, where people were had to. This goes back quite a few years.
Tell me.
1982, San Francisco 49ers, Cincinnati Bengals. Yeah. One last quick thing. Did you? I saw this. I was a little blown away by this. What was the first night game in NFL history played?
Giant Stadium.
Incorrect.
Where?
Where?
Chicago.
Incorrect. It's going to blow your mind when I tell you this.
Alaska.
Nah.
I was throwing something out there.
A place called McKinley Field in Providence, Rhode Island.
What? Really?
Yep.
Really?
There was a team called the Providence Steamrollers back in the from 1925 to 1931, and they won an NFL championship in 1928, and they folded.
Saying goodnight from Route 6 Auto Mall Kia Studios at BadCatz City. Peace.